On the news tonight, INEC issues certificate of return to Kayode Fayemi. And in business, the Minister of State for Aviation unveils national carrier. And on the foreign scene, the U.S. President Donald Trump admits Moscow interfered in the 2016 U.S. election. Hello and welcome to Superscreen Flagship News, broadcasting to you live from the city of Lagos State, Nigeria. I am Olamide Onka. Many thanks for joining us tonight. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has issued a certificate of return to the winner of the governorship election held in Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi. INEC National Commissioner Solomon Shoyebi presented the certificate to the governor-elect today amidst a crowd of supporters at the Commission's headquarters and the state capital, Ado-Ekiti. Fayemi commended the electoral umpire and security agencies for their role during the Ekiti gubernatorial elections, adding that serious governance started for him. A coalition of domestic and international electoral observers accredited to observe the July 14 governorship election in Ekiti State says the election fell short of global best practices and electoral standards. The observers include Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness, Justice and Equity Organization, Nigeria International Republican Institute, the United States of America, and Patriotic Women Foundation, as well as other bodies from the African Union, amongst others. They faulted the deployment of 30,000 policemen for the election, adding that the conduct of some of the security operatives and the unwholesome practices of vote buying largely marred the electoral process. They also said the election was characterized by ballot box snatching, sporadic shootings, as well as intimidation, oppression, and forceful influence of electorate's free will, amongst others. Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose has again accused the police of continuous intimidation of himself, his family, and the Ekiti people. The governor, who disclosed this in a press release by his chief press secretary, Idowu Adelusi, said the police has kept a permanent surveillance over the government house. Fayose pointed out that if the security forces belong to all Nigerians and not President Muhammadu Buhari and the All Progressives Congress, they would not be biased in a blatant manner. He said it will stand on his feet until every justice is unturned and the freedom and liberties of his people are restored. And now the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it will announce the date for the conduct of the by-elections for vacant seats in the National and State Assemblies on Friday. Chairman of INEC, Mahmood Yakubu, made this known during the Commission's meeting with its resident electoral commissioners in Abuja. Yakubu said the dates to be announced would be for all the by-elections in Bauchi South and Katsina North Senatorial District, Lokoja Koton Kafa Federal Constituency, Kogi and Obudu State Constituency in Cross River. You will recall that the Commission had on Friday announced the receipt of formal notification on the vacancies in the National Assembly and the State House of Assembly. And now the Ekiti State Police have arraigned an officer, Adeshida Ademola, in an Ado-Ekiti Chief Magistrate Court for allegedly giving false information of public officers. The prosecutor, Samson Oshobu, told the court that the defendant committed the alleged offense on July 12 in Ado-Ekiti. Oshobu alleged that the defendant, being a serving police inspector, published and communicate with unauthorized persons the information that came to him by the virtue of his position. He said that the accused, who is ought to keep the information secret, unlawfully and knowingly gave false information to the public officers. However, the defendant pleaded not guilty to the charges leveled against him. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says the continuous voters registration exercise will be suspended from August 17, 2018 until after the 2019 general elections. The Commission said the time for the registration and collection of the PVCs will now take place from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. The commission further stated that the distribution of cards and registration of new voters will no longer take place on weekdays only, but will hold on weekends as well. The statement stressed that the CVR exercise will take place between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. instead of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. as stands presently. And now the federal government has concluded the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council today. The meeting, which holds every Wednesday at the council chambers of the Presidential Villa Abuja, was presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, while Vice President Yemi Osinbajo steps in whenever the president is not available. As of today, President Buhari also was around for his official visit to the Netherlands, where he participated in the 20th anniversary of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, amongst other activities. While the Vice President is in Abuja, he attended the 10th annual National Development Summit of the Traditional Rulers. As of the time of filing this report, no official reason has been given for the cancellation of the meeting. And now a bill for an act to amend the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission Act (RMAFC) for effective monitoring of the revenue accruals and disbursement has passed second reading at the House of Representatives. The bill, which was sponsored by Uzoma and Kema Bonta, seeks to aid the Commission in performing its statutory functions optimally. The lead in the debate on the bill, Nkema Bonta, said when passed, it would empower the Commission and put revenue generation in proper perspective in line with the relevant sections of the Nigerian constitutions. He pointed out that however the Commission is not funded well enough to carry out its duties effectively, one of its major functions is monitoring revenue accruals, adding that it was a field work. The lawmaker said the monthly Federal Accounts and Allocation Committee meeting for June did not hold because revenue generated by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) was not properly accounted for. And now the Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom has failed to attend a peace meeting called by the leadership of the All Progressives Congress (APC). The report says the Deputy National Chairman of APC, Lawal Shuaibu, had invited George Akume and Ortom to Abuja for the urgent meeting. However, only Akume was at the meeting, which lasted for about 2 hours. Shuaibu, who was also mandated by the party to deal with the situation, said the party is eager to ensure the reconciliation of the aggrieved members. The peace meeting followed Ortom's announcement that he is no longer with the APC. Coming up tonight in Superscreen Flagship News, the Minister of State for Aviation unveils the national carrier that's in business. Details of this story and many more after the break.
Before they come, they're supposed to, give us some information, notice, at least maybe a week or so. There was nothing like that.
Hunger is everywhere in Nigeria. People are dying every day, but Nigerian government are keeping quiet. Housemen are killing people. Why? It's not what we expected because of these old men that are leading us, and you people know, you are aware that these people are not the right people to lead us. These kind of people that are leading us here are people of black mind. They just care about themselves and their family. You are fighting my village. Let me use if I call it useless, I'm not a mistake. The other place where they build a shop, call it Plaza. Say each shop there 4 million naira, which I don't have the money, so I have to leave. If you plan to get a tribal mark, it takes a lot of pain, but after some time, you enjoy it. No, we experience hold up now during the construction time. Then after some time, we start enjoying it. The way they are doing the construction is too slow. It's too slow. The construction is too slow. They should stop the construction and make sure people go into their businesses and do their businesses.
Welcome back to Superscreen News, and now for some business stories. The Minister of State for Aviation, Hadi Sirika, has unveiled the name of Nigeria's national carrier as well as the logo at the Farnborough International Air Show in London. Sirika, who disclosed this during the unveiling, said the national carrier is in Nigeria Air. He said the national carrier will be private sector led and driven, stressing that the Nigerian government will not own more than 5% of the new carrier. However, he further said the government is still in talks with the aircraft providers for the country. And now the Senate has launched an inquest into the alleged irregularities in the ongoing oil and gas lease renewal and the alleged massive loss of government revenue. This followed a motion sponsored by Senator representing Ondo Central, Omotayo Alashwadura, who said the Senate Committee on Petroleum Resources has been inundated with a plethora of petitions and complaints on multiplicity of irregularities surrounding the ongoing renewal of oil and gas leases since December 2017.
Senate further observes that the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and the Department of Petroleum Resources have deliberately, willfully, and brazenly decided to depart from the subsisting legal framework and due process mandated by extant law for the renewal of all leases. Senate is concerned that the irregularities being perpetrated by the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and the Department of Petroleum Resources in the ongoing lease renewal process is capable of denying government revenue in excess of $10 billion as a result of illegal discounts and rebates in the process of lease renewal. Senate is further concerned that the Department of Petroleum Resources has willfully and deliberately refused to provide the Senate Committee on Petroleum Resources upstream with relevant information and data.
What this Parliament can do is, for once and for all, to bring the minister to make a clarification about the actions he has taken. $10 billion is no small amount of money. And I'm of the belief that if we can get to the root of this matter, it will also open other kind of worms in the petroleum sector. This motion opens the whole process as it is vague and very unclear. So I believe that our intervention here should be in such a way that we must do everything possible to open up the oil industry as a central focus of our Nigeria's economy.
Nigeria has enough law in their statutes to take care of illegalities. This House, every day here, we come across people who have violated the systems and there's no sanction applied. As long as you don't apply sanction and no consequence, it will continue. NNPC is the bedrock of corruption in this country. We do that. And there's no question about that. We've seen many cases of that, even in public accounts. But if you continue, the renewal is the bottom line where people can make a lot of money from. But you can't continue to torture the country. And at the end of the day, the minister himself refused to come. If you call the minister to come, must come and give a quality argument and support system that the reason why you take those actions. Because I know many people who are complaining their licenses have been revoked without due causes. Others who are not deserved are being renewed. We can't continue playing this way.
Reacting, the Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekwuramadu, appealed to the regulating agencies and enforcement agencies to wake up to their responsibilities and ensuring that the right things are being done, while all the lawmakers suggested an all-inclusive investigation into the matter.
One of our major problems is the issue of enforcement and regulations, because we have sufficient rules, to guide us in almost all sectors. So I just want to appeal to regulatory agencies and enforcement agencies to wake up to their responsibilities in order to ensure that the correct things are done in this country, irrespective of who is involved. And I'm sure that now that we are taking up this matter, that should be a good way to start, or at least to continue to ensure that we put our people on the right path of not only transparency but enforcement of rule of law, including enforcement of existing laws and then regulatory agencies ensuring that the correct things are being done. Mandate the Senate Committee on Petroleum Resources upstream to investigate all issues related to the ongoing lease renewal be undertaken by the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and the Department of Petroleum Resources, and to report to the Senate the anomalies in the ongoing lease renewal process and identify appropriate measures to correct the said anomalies. Those in support of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
And now the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, has inaugurated the BUA cement and coal power plants built at the cost of $350 million. That's approximately 107 billion naira in Sokoto State. The cement plant, situated in Kalambina, Sokoto State, has an installed capacity of 1.5 million metric tons per annum, while the coal power plant is a 32 megawatts multi-fuel capacity plant capable of generating more power than what the entire Sokoto State currently generates, according to the chairman, BUA Group, Abdul Salam Rabiu. In his remarks, the Vice President said Nigeria, which currently produces over 40 million metric tons of cement per annum, is the largest producer of commodity in Africa, and that the BUA cement plant will further consolidate the federal government's effort to self-sufficiency in cement production and a net exporter of the product. He stressed that the investment by the firm in the plant and others like it is a clear demonstration that the country has vast capacity and potential for profitable investments. The Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN, has called on the executive and the legislature to amend the constitution to capture the actual date for the passage and signing of the budget documents. And now the president of the institute, Cyril Eded, disclosed this in Abuja at a stakeholders meeting at the 2018 budget. He said while many developed countries had the timelines of their budget captured in the constitution, Nigeria is yet to adopt that in its constitution. In recent times, there have been disagreement between the executive of the National Assembly over the passage of the annual federal government budget. As a result of far tussle between the budget's implementation has always commenced very late into the year. Still talking business, the federal government says it made $343.05 billion from sales of savings bonds in July. The Debt Management Office, who disclosed this on its website, shows that 79.98 million was allotted for July 2020 at 10.48% and 263.06 million allotted at 11.48% for July 2021 papers. According to the result, the sales were made after 288 successful subscriptions. The bond issuance is part of the federal government's program targeted at the lower income earners to encourage savings and also earn more income compared to their savings accounts with banks. Still ahead tonight in Superscreen flagship news, President Donald Trump admits Moscow interfered in the 2016 presidential election. Details of this and more after the break. Stay with us.